Welcome viewers. So I have with me Mr. A.N. Sahai, former chairman and managing director of Mahanadi Coalfields Limited. Mr. Sahai is a well-known expert in the coal energy field and is on board of several companies. We were discussing about various issues starting with MSME, and so now we will get into coal and energy per se. Sir, the coal mining sector was denationalized, I think, just prior to the pandemic, and blocks were also distributed, auctioned. How are things progressing on the commercial coal mining front? And to what extent it is going to change the pricing scenario? We have now a coal price index, which is not yet implemented because it is only coal India. So to what extent it is going to change the price dynamics in India in the longer run?
Just to give you an overview of the coal sector, in 2021, the total raw coal production, including coking combined was 716 million tons, which is 2% lower than what it was last year, 2020. 96% of this production came from open cast mines, and dispatch of raw coal also came down by 2.6% because there was less demand from power sector. Since India tried to keep up the momentum, the stock has gone up from 81 to 210 million tons overall. I'm talking about the country, not Coal India. Production from captive blocks, I would say, because commercial blocks have not yet started. Captive blocks 2021 was 66 million tons, which was marginally more than 1920. That is one interesting fact. It was 62 million in 1920 and 66 million. So captive blocks somehow managed to.
Sir, if I am allowed to just do an intervention here, if I am not wrong, before the deallocation of mines, the total captive production was somewhere near this, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So, I mean, has it come back to the old level?
Yes. And this year I'm expecting even more. Talabira has come up. It's a 20 million ton mine. Last year they produced one. They should produce at least 4 this year. And some other mines that have come up. So they have the advantage that they have already linkages to certain power plants, captive blocks. So their offtake is always better. So they know. Otherwise, they can always sell the market to auction. So what I was telling that a total of 126 captive blocks and commercial blocks have been allocated till now, with geological reserves of about 23 billion tons. Commercial blocks will come up. They will take at least 3 to 4 years to start showing results.
Has the block development been affected due to pandemic?
Yes, certainly, yes. Because a lot of things at the ground level you cannot do. People were not able to do. A lot of work in the block has to be done. You have to do a lot of surveys to prepare reports which are required for getting clearances, which you cannot do unless you are allowed to go there. Because of the lockdown, this has certainly affected. But commercial blocks, because they have been taken by interested parties and they have gathered experiences during the last few years, how to get this clearances done. So I feel another 3 to 4 years, they will be able to come up. They'll start production, these commercial blocks.
So 2 questions. One is regarding captive block. As you said that the production has bounced back and you are expecting more production this year, right? So what has been the clincher? We know there has been some aggressive bidding post deallocation, where the negative bidding has went to abnormal levels, right? By some of the
That
players.
was that was long back. That was long back, and
So what has
they
been
were
the clincher here? The allowing them to sell it to the market.
it takes time. No. It takes time. First of all, it takes time to develop a block. After 2014, things came to a standstill. Then the government said, okay, whatever clearances you had earlier in the name of earlier block allocatee, it will be passed on to the next. So that eased off.
Okay.
That
That
was
has been that has been one big hurdle.
Yeah. Of course, it's not been so easy, but yeah, still, but it's much better than, again starting from ground zero. And another thing is these blocks, they've had some experiences because they had been grappling with the problems at the local level. Apart from the clearances that was stuck at the government level, I must say that after 2014, because I was in MCL at that time, clearances started getting faster. And that was one of the reasons in MCL. We increased our production during the last 2 years, 14-15 and 15-16 when I was there. Wow, how much? Around 30 million? More than 30 million?
So in 2 years, you added.
In 2 years.
Because of the faster clearances. Now
clearances.
These faster
Certain clearances which were pending at the government level, we were, knocking at the doors, nothing was happening, and suddenly they started coming.
So you were saying about the faster clearance post 2014. There are 2 areas which affect coal mining most, 3 areas rather. One is land acquisition, which is basic. Second is clearances. You keep knocking from pillar to post. And third one is the evacuation. You can have a mine ready, but if the evacuation logistics is not there, I mean, we have seen this. Certain mines in Jharkhand had a whole stockpile of coal because there was no way to sell it. So post 2014 has, out of these 3 things, one is purely in the state domain, that is land, and the rest 2 have share of both state and center, and more of center rather. So how these 3 have changed?
See, now coming to this evacuation, nothing is to be done by state government or the central government. All you have to do is plan your own activities. When you are planning a mine, evacuation, one of the most important things that you plan. How will we get out the coal? So that the operator has to do. He has to purchase land, create a road or railway line.
So has the evacuation processes, earlier there were not rail lines were congested,
it is a part of operator's problem. It has nothing to do with the clearances. All you have to do is a line of swath of land that you have to acquire. That should not be much of a problem. What is the problem is not land acquisition per se, but taking possession of land. Like Coal India doesn't have any problem in under Coal Bearing
notifying the acquisition, right?
Yeah, but when you go to the ground, it's hell of a big problem. For every inch of land, you have to fight with the local people, and I understand. If I was in their shoes, I will fight. They have been there for, I don't know, hundreds, thousands of years, and suddenly you want to just remove them because there's coal beneath. It's a cultural issue. It's a sentimental issue. I remember one of the mines that Ananta, the villagers, they came one day, sir, that village that we had is gone as a unit. So can you please help us in, erecting a sort of a, what do you call it, a map of sort. There was a village here once, sort of. I mean, it was so. I was so
sentimental. It was so. I mean, and so important. Culture is so important to our existence. So when you take up someone's culture, then obviously it matters. But then you have no other way also, because we need that mineral for the development. I mean, either we have to sacrifice the development or we have to go
So
for this.
I
So
felt very
to sum
bad
up,
about
and because due to paucity of time, and if we just want to, I would like to take you back to the issue of coal pricing. This has been an area. The sector has all along been dominated by Coal India. They were the only player, Coal India and SCCL, Singareni. So post entry of these private players, are we going to see, coal index is there, but for the benefit of the viewers, if you can tell us that to what extent things are going to change. I mean, whether Coal India can keep on enjoying because of its size will remain monstrous even after the entry of the private players. So because of its size, whether it will still be dictating the price and it will keep on increasing the price at its own wish.
First thing I will tell you, because of the entry of now captive block operators and the captive block operators, what they do basically, you have to understand first how they operate. They tender out and they fix a price. Who will give me the lowest price for this coal? And they have then certain escalations. So that fixes the price there. It is not dependent on Coal India price. Whoever gives the lowest price to them, they give the mine to them. Okay. So captive blocks, Coal India prices.
I'm not talking about the captive blocks, but the commercial players.
Okay. Similarly, commercial players, if they are able to sell coal at a lower price, people will go to them because the main condition of that block is that they can sell in the market. That is going to impact Coal India's pricing policy. In fact, this pricing has to become dynamic. Coal India's pricing is historic. I mean, we have been increasing, and let me again clarify here. Coal India has been very responsible in increasing its prices. There's too much of discussions before any increase is there. And increase is basically due to two factors. One is the input costs. Input costs keep going up, steel prices. So whatever we purchase, the equipment prices, they go up, number one. Number two, diesel prices, petrol prices, they're going up. Diesel is one of the major our cost. And another is labor. We are every 5 years we have to increase our. So when the input costs.
Sir, if I just can take you to the last question on this discussion, is that when you say about labor, right? Now, Coal India, I know you are heading MCL, where the labor, MCL, Northern Coalfields, they have very, less labor. But when you come to the BCCL, ECL, the share of labor is very high, right? And ultimately, it is going to the Coal India balance sheet. So we have to assume that it is taking taking a toll on the coal price. So going forward, what will be the scenario? Should Coal India or whether Coal India will be forced to go on more and more mechanization?
See, 96% of Coal India's production comes from open cast mine, which are mechanized, mostly mechanized. So we lose around, I don't know, have the exact figures. When I was there, it was around 8,000 crores because of underground mines. Only underground mines, we are losing about 800 crores. It must have gone up by now. And that we are subsidizing from the profits of open cast mines. So we are going on for mechanization in Coal India. There is no other alternative but to go for mechanizing, opening up more and more open cast mines rather than underground mines, because we employ more labor there, the productivity is low. And on top of that, one thing that we forget, that there are certain coal seams you cannot mine by open cast. We must go there for underground. But there are seams which can be mined by open cast. We must go there go there by open cast mine, because we should not go there for underground. That's why
Don't
we
you
have
think that the
started.
underground is highly neglected in India?
It is neglected because it is not economically viable.
But because we didn't go for that mechanization also, I mean, the kind of mines that we see in.
We tried
Hmm.
with Longwall, we tried with other mining. Do you know one of the, I'm not against underground mining. First and foremost is it is highly uneconomic and environmentally unsustainable. That is something people don't realize. Environmentally unsustainable.
Because of the cave-ins, the
No,
potential.
because you see Raniganj coalfield, it's full of water. You see Jharia coalfield, it's full of fire. You
Right.
cannot do anything there. But then the results will come after 100 years. So people feel, yeah, we can go. In open cast, you have a solution. If you invest certain amount of money, if there is a what you call government or regulatory bodies are there to supervise, you can fill up that and reclaim that land as it was. Or
Yes,
even
land
with the
reclamation is one area. Probably, I mean, I think for last few years, Coal India started paying a lot of attention probably in that area also. And
because earlier Coal India didn't have money. Now Coal India has money, so that mindset is now changing and we are putting money. But then what I'm trying to tell you in underground, say Jharia coalfield, we are investing more than 10,000 crores for shifting people to different places. Raniganj coalfield, again, we are not doing anything. More, not less. Even in Talcher, there are certain areas demarcated by DGMS where no houses can be built up. Now imagine the people who have land there. They cannot sell it. They don't do anything there. It's
right.
dangerous because in underground, so environmentally, it is very unsustainable to have underground mining. We should only go to for underground mining where we can have a mechanized mine of at least 1,000,000 ton. Number one. Number two, if it is caved properly, no issues because it will fill up. And then on top, you can reclaim it. But if you go for stowing, you don't have
This
land.
is, don't you think that this towing has been a big gray area?
Gray area.
I mean, it is better to allow them to cave in and stabilize.
But it's not always possible. If there's a railway line going, if there's a big road going, if there are certain structures, if there's a power plant there, at a depth you can work. But that's what I'm telling. Environmentally unsustainable. And the third thing in underground that is against that is you get only 25. If you have 100 tons of coal underground, you are able to take out only 25 tons. Rest 75% is left down there.